Hey guys, Dr. Sean here. We're going to do a mailbag segment today, and I just thought, I've been giving you kind of a tour around the office here the last few of these I've done, just showing you the unique things I like to have. You can't live life without a Velvet Elvis. I'm just saying. You got to have a Velvet Elvis. So that being said and done, let's go through some of this. Someone said, hey doc, what causes muscle spasms, right? What gets that, oh my gosh, it hurts, or you feel it in the back, or sometimes it's like a cramp. They're a little different, a cramp versus a spasm, but they're similar in how they work. Now, you'll read things, it'll say, well, it's overuse. And it can be. It can be fatigue, dehydration, electrolytes. It's really a combination of all of that. So that when you overuse something, you tire it. When you tire it, muscles contract off chemical reactions of fluids and electrolytes in the body. So it's really all of those. It's overuse, fatigue, dehydration, and electrolytes, salt imbalance. So that's really the underlying cause. Now, we go back and say, well, gosh, are there other things that can do this, right? Well, what gets this going, right? So from a rule of thumb, if the body physically is not balanced, if it's not aligned, if the muscle structure is out of whack, you always hear me talk about MMR in here. That muscle memory reintegration. If your mechanics are not right, if you got a shoulder that's doing this, and you go out and you start digging in the yard all day, it's already in trouble to begin with. You don't have normal body function. And if you're lacking function, it won't be long before it starts to affect things. So you'll see cramps and spasms start setting in. That's really the key to this. Help the body restore normal and the spasms can go away. Now there's a bunch of different therapies you can do. Everything from acupuncture to chiropractic care to massage to working out in the gym, doing yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, something of that nature. There's all these things that help the body that can be very, very beneficial at restoring normal body function. But that is the key that cannot get missed in this. You have to restore normal. That means if you're like, man, my head's like this every day when I get up. That's not normal. And it's going to cause wear and tear and abnormal patterns from side to side. Something we like to do in practice, and a friend of mine was discussing this with me the other day, and I'd forgotten all about it for the longest time. He talks about the double scales, right? You see that in a lot of offices, the double scales. You stand on them and just stand there. Close your eyes, stand on the scales, and look down. And inevitably, you'll see, man, I'm putting a lot of weight to my right or a lot of weight to my left. Some of the scales that are front and a back as well. You can see how I'm left front. I'm leaning that way, but you don't feel it. The body's saying, look, man, this is balanced. But oh, that's not. That's like having low tires on three sides of the car and one's really, really high. It throws everything off. So the key to spasms then is to say, restore that balance, restore that function. Now, what happens when everything goes south? What can you do? What are the quick fixes? Let's give you some easy ones. I would always, of course, adjust. I would go through and assess what's the body missing nutrition-wise, restore that function for long-term health. But when you're in a pinch, you're in a bind, you don't know what to do, here's some of my favorites. Obviously, salt and water are important. Get the Himalayan salt. I love it. I have a brand that we use here in practice that a few doctors mentored me 2 decades ago, told me to start using. I've used it ever since. It's phenomenal. You just take a pinch, drop it in 8 or 10 ounces of water and sip on that a couple times throughout your day. And what that does is it helps to rebalance that hydration and the electrolytes. So that's a really nice little technique to do. Another one that I like a lot is when you're cramping up or you're spasming, start thinking electrolytes, minerals. Oh, magnesium, that's a big one. Hot Epsom salt baths. Love them. Okay, love them. Get a couple cups of Epsom salt, dump it in a hot bath and lay in it. Right? The body will absorb all that magnesium into the skin, and magnesium tends to calm down spasms. So it's a great therapy you can do. Another one I learned years ago was to literally just take magnesium Epsom salt, put it in a paper sack, like a lunch sack that I used to take to school when I was a kid. Lay it over the area that hurts, put a heating pad over it. And guess what? That magnesium, it'll go right through that sac into the tissue with that heat behind it. It'll draw it in and calm it down. Those are some super, super good ones. Now, other quick fixes that I like, and these are more for cramps than spasms. So those work for spasms. These work for cramps. When you cramp and you're out, you're running, and all of a sudden there it is. Turn to the pickle juice. Pickle juice, guys, has been used for years to help stop spasms and cramping in muscle tissue, especially when it's athletic type injuries. Okay? Mustard also works. Now, they thought for the longest time it's the sodium, it's the salt in there. But when they've done studies clinically, it doesn't hold up. The sodium levels of the body don't change when people do the pickle juice. The body keeps it pretty neutral. So you don't see this bump that would make it, oh, the water follows it and it calms it down. What we have learned, though, is that the acetic acid that is in the pickle juice, the acetic acid that's in mustard, they both have it, okay? That affects a certain taste receptor that goes right to the brain, and it signals it to say, hey, we don't need to spasm, shut that off. And it will do it within seconds. Now, how's that for a really, really cool mailbag segment? So I hope that helps you out. I hope that helps you with your spasms. Hopes that helps you with the cramps. If they don't get better, guys, that's when you got to look to someone like myself to go say, hey, doc, what's going on? Where's my structure out of place? Where's my function off? Can we observe that? I know the quick fixes, but how do we really fix it? And that's what we do every day. Okay, Sean McCaffrey, the Robin Hood Healthcare. Take care, guys.